Okay.
Bismillah.
Bismillah Rahman Ar Raheem. I think it's going to have to stay this way, Ziba. So welcome back, old friends, new friends, always friends. Alhamdulillah. Oh, Alhamdulillah, we are all back. And what we were talking about right before we left is this outline of an experience of Rahman El Raheem, from big stories of big mercy, small stories that point to the presence of mercy. We won't say small mercy, there's no such thing. And how all of this points to the eternal promise. The eternal promise should be bold and underlined of infinite mercy. And now, once we taste, inshallah, this in our experience together, then infinite mercy, becoming aware of the presence of infinite mercy, should allow us to feel safe, and how safety leads to trust. So, what is a better way to begin than with Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar Raheem? Surah Al-Fatiha, the summary, as we may have heard, of the entire Quran, 7 verses, 2 of which is repeated, these 2 specific qualities that the speaker wished for us to know about itself. Al-Rahman Al Raheem. Think about it. If the entire Quran was to be summarized in 7 verses, and 2 of those verses repeats 2 names, Al-Rahman, Al-Rahim, then it is the most important lesson for us to learn and internalize and feel and be constantly connected to. So I ask Allah, through this experience of us receiving all together, to gift us a lasting taste of Al-Rahman Al Raheem that deeply quenches our need for this presence of unconditional, constant, unchanging love in such a way that leaves us in no need and in no thirst of anyone else. Amen. Okay. Bismillah. So we'll begin with Al-Rahman. Here are some verses that caught my attention, some ayats. And before we approach the Quran, the most important thing, thank you to Dr. Ali for constantly reminding us of this. The most important thing is to constantly reorient ourselves before we start repeating speech that's being revealed from the infinite, from this being who is beyond. What am I doing? What is going on here? I was put here in this physical form on this earth, and I have no idea how I got here. I have no idea from where I came, and I have no idea to where I'm going. I remember being with my grandmother, Allah Yarhamha, on her deathbed. Really, we didn't know it at the time. It was her last days in the hospital, and we weren't aware of that. And I remember her asking me, what's going to happen? And she's, of course, studied everything from, of course, traditional religion, whatever, is taught in schools in Muslim countries and whatnot. But the idea is we came from some unknown place and we're returning somewhere unknown. And there is a one who put us here, gives us this existence, and then speaks us in order for us to be oriented to the truth of who we are, where we came from, and what we're doing here. So when this being is speaking to me, it's so that I can feel oriented, aware, safe. So this being speaks to me and says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. In Surah Al-An'am, Surah 6, Ayah 54. كتب ربكم على نفسه الرحمة. Your Rabb, caregiver, guardian, protector, educator, the one who brought you here, has willed upon himself, has decreed, decided upon himself, al-Rahmah, which here it says the law of grace and mercy, al-Rahmah, a law of creation. That means things only exist out of Rahmah. They only come into existence out of the law of Rahmah. The next ayah that caught my attention was Surah Al-A'raf, chapter 7, ayah 156, where the underlined part that I have highlighted here is وَرَحْمَتِي وَسِعَتْ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ. My rahmah encompasses, overspreads, includes kulli shay. Kulli shay is every single thing. That means there's absolutely nothing that is absent of rahmah. And that's important. This is what the Maker is telling me about the way He has ordered the universe to be. And I chose this specific ayah because the beginning of the ayah, which I have left here, it says, Adabi, my punishment or my chastisement, do I afflict whom I will? So I want everyone to just pause for a moment. A lot of people, and we have talked about this in the last halaqah, which has stayed in my soul since, you know, they say things like, am I being punished? Is this a punishment? Maybe this is a punishment for something that I did. So here is the word punishment. With my chastisement or punishment, do I afflict whom I will? Wa, it doesn't even say but. English says but in Arabic it's wa and, or there's a continuation. Rahmati wasi'at kulli shay. My unconditional love encompasses everything. So I want us to pause and stay with this question. Is there such thing then as me being punished? Or in reality, is it love? And we can vibe on that, inshallah, in the after halaqah party. Seems, okay, I was about to say, seems like someone is not muted. Miski, maybe? Okay. All right. So, sorry, my attention is also being on this new Zoom room. We have to admit the newcomers. So now we have talked a little bit about Rahmah with the 3 chapters of the Quran that we've discussed so far, including Al-Fatiha, An'am, and Surah Al-A'raf. There's this book, and it's called The Divine Names, the 99 Healing Names of the One Love. And Al-Rahman is described as, and I would like for you guys to close your eyes because this is an experience and not information. The presence of Al-Rahman is like the ocean of infinite kindness and beauty. Imagine being surrounded in an ocean of infinite kindness and beauty, which is wasi'at kulli shay. There's nothing that is not within this ocean of kindness and beauty, all embracing. Al-Rahman is the gate through which all names flow. For in the Quran, the speaker says, call on Allah or call on Al-Rahman. those two names being used together shows that this Al-Rahman is essential to his reality or its reality. So it is the gate through which all names flow. It contains all the qualities of unconditional, constant love that never changes, not even for a blink of an eye. Not even for a blink of an eye. And I bring my attention to Khitam and the other friends in the room. This unconditional love is something that we don't really have a true experience of. So I'm inviting you through this experience, inshallah, on this journey to have a taste. Just a small sample is sufficient. So Al-Rahman contains all the qualities of unconditional, constant love that doesn't change, flinch for a blink of an eye. Tenderness, gentleness, generosity, mercy, compassion, care, protection. To taste Al-Rahman is to feel that one is enfolded. Here's another word of something that always wraps you up. In the gentle clouds of mercy, with secret blessings. Inshallah, use that word constantly. With secret blessings interconnected in a web of protective love. Okay, now that was a gist of Al-Rahman. Now we will have a sample of Al Raheem. So Dr. Yamina, alhamdulillah, shared with us a beautiful summary of Tafsir Surah Al-Fatiha. It's quite a long series. It's available on the YouTube channel on Receiving Noor, YouTube's channel. And I remember in that when we spoke of Al Raheem was connected to the eternal promise. Al-Rahman is the one who is always, for everyone, showing this quality of love. And Al-Rahim is the foreverness of that, the eternity of that, the akhirah, non-stop, eternal promise. And so here are a few ayats that speak to that aspect of rahmah, which specifically in Surah Al-Ahzab, chapter 33, ayah 43, it says, the end of the ayah, وَكَانَ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ رَحِيمًا. And indeed, he is Rahim to those who are mu'mineen. So there is a prerequisite that says, if you are one who connects to this presence and believe in it, then you are connected to the eternal promise. Whereas Al-Rahman is always, for all, believer or not believer, all of creation, in the law of creation, experiences Al-Rahman. And now, for the believer, for the heart that connects to this presence and confirms it as true, they are then connected to Al-Rahim. The second ayah is here, Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, ayah 16. The end I'll focus on. Actually, we can read the فإن تابوا وأصلحوا فإن تابا وأصلحا فأعرضوا عنهما إن الله كان توابا رحيما. So for those who are turning their attention back to this one, making tawbah, turning their attention back, and turn away from that which is false, then indeed It doesn't even say then. Indeed, in that state of turning away from that which is false and turning your attention back towards your source, then indeed Allah is Tawwab, turning to you, and Rahim. That is the eternal promise. Eternal promise is like, for me, the soul's reality. If I'm aware that who I am is this breath, and this, when I say breath, I don't mean a physical inhale and exhale, but this ruh, this spirit of existence comes from the source, then when I am connected to that truth, then I'm connected to Ar Rahim, the source of that. The final ayah is Surah Furqan, Surah 25, ayah 70. I'll read the Arabic and the English. إِلَّا مَنْ تَابَ وَآمَنَ وَعَمِلَ عَمَلًا صَالِحًا فَأُولَٰئِكَ يُبَدِّلُ اللَّهُ سَيِّئَاتِهِمْ حَسَنَاتٍ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. Except, however, shall be they who repent and attain to belief, and do righteous deeds, for it is they whose bad deeds God will transform into good ones, seeing that Allah, God, is much forgiving, always forgiving, perpetually, and always Rahim, dispenser of this unconditional loving grace. So, okay, inshallah, we can pause soon. I wanted to give you all a visual experience. I pray that this is not information. So I am going to keep the visual up and ask you all to join me in a visualization. Again, so I'm going to invite you guys all to focus on the first image of this little alien looking thing in a red place with lots of lines and blood vessels everywhere. Some sort of magical tube here that is suddenly made connected to this little creature thing that's very delicate. And I want you guys now just to take a pause, look at that image, and then close your eyes. This little being is you. You were brought here into this place, so delicate, so delicate. Someone made you and brought you here and perfectly contained you in this womb, Rahim, womb. The root word of womb is Rahim, which is the root word of Rahman El Raheem. So for sure, there is a presence that we're being asked to connect to here and now in our human existence. As you are, I want you to imagine yourself as this small being that we just saw, this newborn. Actually, it's not even newborn yet. It's just a little human. Something designed me and connected me to a cord of everything that I need. The cord is this promise that everything that I need will arrive to me and will be sent to me magically through Rahman Raheem. That's his promise. He made me delicate, but he put around me layers and layers of protection around everything around me. So my existence is safe in this womb. I want you to open your eyes, and we're going to look at this bottom picture of the big human being. Somewhere in this physical form, I exist. Imagine like where these little lights are and stuff like that. Somewhere in this being is my real existence, this ruh. It lives inside of this physical form. I want you guys to just take a look at this image and then close your eyes once more, once you got it. Like the picture of the infant, I don't even know what to call it, the fetus. I live in this physical body, and this physical body is the womb that I now exist in. It is a protective shell over me. Everything that I need arrives magically within me. He sends it through a magical cord that is no longer the physical one that I saw in the first picture. And if you open your eyes one more time, and now look at this perfectly spherical earth amidst this ocean of stars, I exist in this womb world. So it's almost like 3 layers of a womb. In my existence, the one who breathes life into me in the first red picture, his promise is to sustain my ruh, right? It's like the ruh is blown into this little thing right here. And as this thing grows, then this becomes my new shell that encases me. It's like the web of layers that swaddles my existence, my real existence within. And then the last layer is that I exist in this earth, is wrapped in this ocean of infinite loving kindness and beauty. I am in the safety of this womb world of Rahman El Raheem. And my reality is that I am as sensitive and delicate as this little being in the red picture. That's who I really am. AKA Abd. For me, this is the perfect picture to summarize Abd. It's the reality of our human existence. Completely, totally dependent. This thing can do nothing by itself. Regardless of whether I live in this haykal, as my grandfather, may Allah be pleased with him, would say, this, physical, what's haykal? Form, design.
Like a skeletal design form.
Skeletal design form. My grandfather uses this word haykal to say, we live in this thing, design, the skeletal figure. Whether I live in the small one or the tall one, it is the same. The same being resides in it. A ruh that was blown into this existence that can do nothing for itself. Nothing. And we have, from our halakas, some sort of difficulty with coming face-to-face reality with this reality of who we are. We say, oh, I'm not that needy. Why do I have to be so dependent? Who am I dependent on? Why do I got to be a worshiper, a slave? I don't connect with that word. I am just asking you guys to throw that all, like Dr. Adi would say, take it off. Like you take off your shoes before you enter the area of prayer. Take all of that off and just connect with these images as our reality. Abd. Someone who is made extremely delicate for all of its needs, emotional, physical, intellectual, existential, who is made extremely delicate and who is encased or swaddled or covered totally with everything that we need. That's the law of creation of the Creator's promise, Rahman El Raheem. So, alhamdulillah, that concludes our part 1 journey. And I wanted us to end with this visualization, meditation. I'll set the timer for 5 minutes, and then inshallah, we can keep it bite-sized so that next week we can use today's mabda, our beginning, our introduction, marinade in it, like a good marinade. You know, you gotta let it sit in the refrigerator for at least a couple of hours. We're gonna take our time. And then inshallah, next week, we're going to walk together through our collective calamities and darkness and see if we can, through his rahmah, begin to see sparkles all together. And the brighter that we see sparkles together, the more, inshallah, we can be conscious of this presence. So I invite you guys to close your eyes and find a comfortable position. Oh, yay. Bismillah. And bring your attention to the surface that supports you beneath you. And now we will bring our attention to our outer form, the haykal, the skeletal outline from the head. If you can, as though you're drawing a circle or tracing with an invisible marker, the outer body of your head, shoulders, arms, thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky, chest, legs, feet. I exist in this body, and I am encased in a promise of unconditional love. My small human being has waken up, so I'm going to shorten this. I invite you guys to recognize this presence of a swaddling warmth that's promises to take care of your every need. The whole universe is created just to support me. This whole body is created just to support and protect me. I am in the presence of Rahman El Raheem. I'm going to pause here and mute myself, and inshallah.
SubhanAllah, Sarah, like
Yeah.
Shakur's calling is our calling. When we don't see that Mama is near, like, we feel like this, like we're panicking, like he's panicking. We feel like, where are you? Where are you, my Rabb? What is happening? Like, where are you? What is happening? And then you panic, and then you're anxious, and then you're in a state of an anxiety. While like Sarah was there all the time, and she's with him, and she keeps reminding him that I am here, I'm with you, I'm always with you. But we act like Shakur. We panic, and I panic, and I cannot see my Rabb's Rahma. So I was just saying, Shakur is a very clear mirror for who I am, like for my panic, for me not being able to see my Rabb close to me, just like you're close to him. And we panic that way. And the panic goes up, like, I remember when we were discussing with Inaba the concept of pause to defog. What happens is like Shakur, like he starts with mama, then mama, like, it just goes in. And then the panic grows and grows because, like, again, he's young, but what is our excuse not to pause and say, how many times has our Rabb reminded us that he's close? How many times have we called on him and found him? So we need to thank Shakur for being our mirror. Bismillah. Anyone else felt Shakur's call, their own call?
I was feeling the same, Sister Alia, when you said what you said. I was thinking of sharing it after Sarah ended it. I was thinking like it was as if that's our state, basically. It's not, I didn't see it as panic. I was seeing as calling my Rabb when like each and every moment I am in need of him. It's not when I panic, it's all the time. I am nothing without his presence and he being there for me. So that was also my, like when you were sharing, the same thing came to my heart as well.
And the photo of the baby in the womb is also a clear mirror. If we can just think about that every moment, whenever we do something, we think that we do something. We are just, like, the ruh is carried in this vehicle, and everything is done unto us. And for me, the images work best, whenever, if I can imagine myself like that little baby in the womb, cannot talk, cannot walk, cannot feed itself, cannot do anything, but everything comes. It's, loved, protected, and safe. That changes everything.
And it reminds me how, apologies.
Yeah,
Wasn't supposed
Reality.
Sarah,
It's not an
Sarah,
apology, it's a
we can
reality.
end with the dua and then inshallah open the floor.
I just wanted to conclude with what Mariam said, is that we're invited to ask the question, who do I choose to be? And this beginning is so important, because the more that I realize how needy I am and become comfortable with that, to that extent, we can start to feel in a very real way the presence of Rahman Al Raheem. So that's how Dr. Yamina constantly repeats the message: to the extent of our ubudiyah, can we really confirm rububiyah? And inshallah, next week we'll be able to, grow together on this journey. And if anyone wants any last comments before we make a dua?
Why don't you make a dua and then we can have our open mic discussion? Because I need to talk to you all as well.
Yeah, maybe Alia, can you do the dua?
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ya Allah, you have sent me personally and everyone here personally this invitation to connect with you as a Rahman ar-Rahim. Ya Allah, we know it in our heads that you are a Rahman ar-Rahim. We study it in our books that you are a Rahman ar-Rahim. But we are here today because we want to know it with our hearts, to feel it in our being, to be in your presence, the presence of Rahman Ar Raheem. Ya Allah, the images that you sent to Sarah today to share with us of the infant are very powerful. We know in our head how you take care of the infants inside us and us as infants inside our mom's wombs. Now we need to realize that this reality that you made us see was just for us to realize, to have the foundation of this is who we are, and this is how it's always going to be. We're always going to be needy, but we're always going to be surrounded by what we need. We're always going to be needy to be able to know who you are as the giver of what we need. We see this in the creation. We see how the needy birds are taken care of. Every needy thing is taken care of. Every needy creation is taken care of.
Come on, baby.
And we can say with our heads, with our minds, that we have been taken care of. But we want to live this, Ya Allah. We are asking you to make us all the time realize we are taken care of right here and now. to see this blessing happening here and now, to feel your presence all the time, to see this rahmah happening all the time, and especially in times where things don't go in accordance with what we'd wish for them to be. Times when our beautiful Ziba is suffering from pain, times where my brother tomorrow is seeing a doctor to see about a lumbar surgery for the vertebrae, time where we see our loved ones leaving us through different creations that you've created for them. In these times when we feel the panic, things that we want to happen are not happening, or things that we don't want to happen are happening, and we feel we need to stop the world and fight the world, and in these times of anxiety, when we call out mama, 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 these times, Ya Allah, we want you to guide us with a pause that makes us realize that you're already here, that you're with us. We just need to realize that. And once we realize that, we realize we're already swaddled. I love that word that you inspired Sarah to share with us, that we're already swaddled in your embrace. And this embrace is of mercy. And yes, it might not look like something we like. Yes, it might not be, we might be holding on something that you don't want us to hold on, or someone that we want by our sides. You have invited them back home, and we didn't want that to happen that soon, but there is mercy in it. And it's because of that mercy that this is happening, that everything has mercy. And everything having mercy can only be clear to us once we realize we are always in the presence of the most merciful. Everything is happening because this life is just a very short trailer that takes us home. That home is where we are intended to be. That home is where we are heading. That home is where we came from, and home is where we're returning back. And we're here just to witness with our own eyes, you, the most merciful, showing us your mercy in everything. And the sooner and the more we see you as the most merciful, the sooner and the more we're connected to you. Ya Allah, keep that cord between us and you. It's always there. We just thought that we are detached, but you have not detached it from your side. Ya Allah, make us realize that that cord is from our heart through the blow that you've blown into us. Keep us connected with it to you, Allah. Make our chest feel the connection to you, that feel the safety in knowing the truth about who we are and who you are. And may all the peace and blessings be upon our Prophet, who taught us how to live in this way, how to live understanding your mercy is surrounding him and all his beloved all the time. So when everything looks like a fearful situation, he would gently remind his beloved companion, what would you say about two, once you know that God is the third one with them? Keep us in that safe company of your rahmah.
Amen.
Amen.